Hello, I'm Laurie Anderson, and I'm so happy to be here with you for this celebration of our friend Oscar. And I'm thinking of him now playing his guitar. And Oscar used to come over to our house a lot to watch boxing. And he and Lou would sit on this long, curved, sort of purple couch, sort of these fancy twisted metal railings. And they both had these very large blonde acoustic guitars that made them both look like a lot smaller than they actually were. And they were like smoking Cuban cigars like nonstop. You could really hardly see them with all of the smoke. And the TV was on because Oscar had come over to watch the fight. And they were hunched over their guitars in this cloud of smoke. And out of this cloud, once in a while came these like blues riffs, and once in a while like flamenco phrases that phased into a rock riff and then into a country riff. And they were both practicing classical finger picking, and they were really serious about that. And they would trade licks and they'd compare each other's fingerings, do it like this, do it like that. And the boxing match was always on, so there's all these kind of sounds of slapping and clubbing and grunting, and once in a while, both of them would just sort of start to shriek because they had that same fantastic like cackle that kind of ramped up into a maniacal howl. But anyway, Oscar loved music, and so I'm going to read something about drums from Mambo Kings. And now nothing but drums, battery of drums, the conga drums jamming out in a descarga, the drummers lifting their heads, shaking under some kind of like spell. There's rain drums, like pitter patter, about 100 times faster, and then slamming the door drums and dropping the bucket drums, kicking the car fender drums, then circus drums, then coconuts falling out of the trees, and something against the ground drums, and then these like lion skin drums, and then then the whacking of a hand against the wall drums, and the beating of a pillow drums, and heavy stones against a wall drums, then the thickest forest tree trunks pounding drums, and then the mountain rumble drums, and then the little birds learning to fly drums, and then the big birds alighting on a rooftop and fanning their immense wings drums, then a boat down the river with oars dropping heavily into the water drums, then a man fucking a woman and jamming the bed frame into the wall drums, and then someone jumping up and down on the floor drums, and then a fat man slapping his own belly drums, and then a woman smacking her ass down on the floor drums, and then Morse code drums, and then the sky breaking up and all the heavens falling down drums, and then like dialogue drums, and the children running through an empty church drums, and a conquistador firing cannons at an Indian village drums, that slaves being thrown into the hold of a ship drums, and then the beating pots and pans drums, and then the lightning drums, and then an elephant rolling on a ground drums, and then heartbeat drums, a honeybird drone drums, and a couple more hundred drums. Anyway, I really love this this passage from Mambo Kings, and I loved Oscar so much. So I wanted to thank him for being such a wonderful writer and such a wonderful friend. That's it for me.